ReefBum is sponsored by Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to a very impromptu live stream. I'm trying something a little bit different here. Welcome, Zenith Reef Keeping. Yes, I hope all is well with you too. So I wanted to do a sort of final update on this 187-gallon tank Reboot. And as you can see, there are no more colonies in this tank, man. I spent a good part of yesterday taking out the last of the colonies in this tank. So this is where the gigantic Halides is. And if you guys have problems listening or hearing me, please let me know in the chat. I'm looking at the chat here, so I can take some questions. But please let me know if the audio and the video is good right here. So yeah, this is like bittersweet. I can't believe it. But this tank is pretty much colony free. In terms of the SPS, this is the remnants of the Oregon blue tort right there. That was such a beautiful colony. I'm going to show you folks what I did with all these very large colonies. So I had this gigantic Cali tort that I took down. That was a week ago, and the Oregon blue tort. This is where the purple slimer was back in there. I took that out yesterday. Right in that spot, I had, thanks Hunter, right in that spot I had a nice colony of a Walt Disney. Right here what you see is a massive, it was a gigantic, well, it's a small colony of a red planet. What you're seeing there is just kind of like one little sprout of branches. The thing just encrusted like crazy, and it just spread around. So I don't know, maybe because it was shaded by other corals. Yeah, I know, Algae War, it is very empty in there. I'm going to go into the frag tank room in a little bit just to kind of show you guys what I did. But yeah, this is crazy, man. This is just really crazy in terms of what happened to this tank. It sort of looks like a bunch of LPS in here, and you know, I've got all the Goniopora and the Alveopora. I've still got a lot of the zoanthids. I've come to a realization that I don't have a lot of fish in this tank. You know, all the corals kind of hid the fish, so I need to add some more fish. Clownfish are still you know, right at home in their Alveopora right there. So yeah, let me kind of give you a little tour in terms of what I've done with all the larger colonies in this tank and what I've been up to. But yeah, I would say next week I am going to take out this first island, probably the island on the right side right here. I'm going to take out all the rock, obviously take out the kind of break out the chisel and get all the encrusting montes off of there, get the zoanthids off of there, and swap it out for the Carib Sea life rock that I got going on. Let's take a walk over to the Peninsula tank. Hopefully I'm not going to pull anything out here because I am tethered to my iMac. Peninsula tank. I got to do an update on the Peninsula tank. Well, as you can see, the Peninsula tank is doing very well. So what you can see right there is a huge chunk of the Cali tort. So I took one of the large chunks of the Cali tort, the gigantic colony that I had, and I put it in that spot. I had a branching hammer that's on the other side of the tank that it was sitting in that big orange cap. I took it out, put it on the other side of the tank, and I think the Cali Tort looks really natural there. I think that's going to be a great spot for it here in the Peninsula tank. It definitely kind of fills up the corner a little bit, but I also think, knowing how fast the Cali Tort grows, that'll be a good spot for it in terms of being able to kind of grow and spread its branches and not really blocking out too many of the other corals. So I think I could really manage the Cali Tort, that huge chunk, in this part of the Peninsula tank. You can also see I've got a big chunk of the Oregon Blue Tort. I put one of my colonies of the ORA Hawkins in the bottom here. Just really digging the bare bottom in this tank. Yeah, Brimac 1, yeah, for sure. Everything is growing really, really good in terms of the Peninsula tank. So yeah, I certainly utilize this tank to help kind of spread out some of the corals from the 187-gallon tank. But, you know, as I've documented, by and large, all of the colonies you see in here were started as frags, except for the stuff on the bottom of the tank. All right, so let's go into the frag tank room. And if you want to pop any questions in the chat, I'll do my best to check those out and answer them. All right, so here we are, the 75-gallon frag tank, and let me tell you, man, it is chock full of corals. I've got this big chunk in the front here is a big chunk of the purple slimer. Behind it is another big chunk of the Cali Tort. In front here is a huge chunk of the Sexy Corals Orange Passion. A chunk of the ATL Strawberry Fields. I love that coral. It's a tabling coral. In the very back there, I don't know if you can see it, is the another big chunk of the Oregon Blue Tort. Tyree Blue Matrix, I think you can see that kind of to the right of that hammer coral. Sawyer, yeah, man, I'm not a fan of the low boy frag tanks. I actually had two of them, and one sprung a leak, so I got rid of them. So I got rid of the one that sprung the leak, and I had another brand new one, and I got rid of that one too because I just wasn't going to trust it. But for the frag tanks, I always like to use the overflow boxes, and these are custom frag tanks, so I've got external overflow boxes. That's what I dig. What else we got here? This is a Frankie's Kryptonite Acro. Behind there is the beautiful Tyree Icefire Egonata. Now the Icefire came from the 187-gallon tank. The Frankie's Kryptonite Acro did not. I've been growing that out in here. But just to show you some other corals that I've been growing out in this frag tank that were not in the 187-gallon tank. That's a beautiful home wrecker right there. Right in front of that is a Tyree Purple Monster. You might not be able to see that too well. So, yeah. Now, so that's a 75-gallon frag tank. And this is the 75 or the 50-gallon frag tank. Now, this thing is now full of frags, and I'm actually having a live coral show next Saturday at June 4th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let me tell you, folks, I got a lot of beautiful, chunky, colorful frags that are just super healthy, and I'm just kind of stoked. I need to move some of these, so I'm hopeful that you folks can join me next Saturday for the live sale. But yeah, I mean, just to take a look, here's a whole bunch of Sexy Corals Orange Passion frags. Behind those, well, in the front here are the ORA Hawkins. You could see a whole bunch of the Tire Red Dragon frags. Behind that is the Tyree Lime in the Sky, the last row there. This is like an underrated coral, I think, but this is what I call a kryptonite tenuous. It is like blinding green. It's a super neon green, and it's just so cool. Now these frags in the front are not for sale, and these are actually frags that I've pulled some from some of my colonies, other frags that I've obtained elsewhere, and this is kind of like the staging area for the frags that I will be putting into the rebooted 187 gallon tank. So I've been cooking the Carib Sea Life Rock in this 100 gallon Rubbermaid tub, and it's about 100 pounds of the Carib Sea Life Rock. I've been doing water changes with established tank water every week, 10%. I've been dosing NB7 Microbacter 7 bacteria daily, and I think it's ready. I think it's ready for the transfer into the main display, but I will be doing it slowly. Question: what are your favorite utilitarian fish for a frag tank? Love fox faces, and tangs. So in each of these frag tanks, I've got a fox face and a tang. So those are my go-to. Okay. And while I'm on this frag tank, this is the 50 gallon frag tank that's plumbed into the Peninsula tank. Some other chunks from the colonies on the 187 gallon display. Another purple slammer chunk, huge chunk of the Oregon blue tort. A big, nice colony of the Milka stylo. I love that coral. Tyree blue matrix, large chunk. This is the Walt Disney colony that I talked about at the beginning from a 187 gallon tank, and I just stuck it into this frag tank. What you see right on front here is an ACI Yellow Tips acro I got from Chris Meckley. Awesome piece. I got to find a place for it in the Peninsula tank. Right next to that is a whole bunch of Oregon blue tort frags, ready to rock and roll. Some gorgeous orange Setosa frags. These are so colorful. I think especially if you tend to run bluer lights on your tank, that's just going to be just really stand out. Just a big smack of orange color. Some more ACI corals, the ACI Toxic and Acropora. Those will be for sale in the live sale on Saturday. Some Milka Stylo frags. Some Alveopora and Goniopora frags right there that will also be in the live sale. So, yeah, I think that I just had enough room. As you can see, I still have some space in this frag tank for some colonies, but I wanted to save some room, and you can see the tiles on the floor here, to grow out some frags, to grow them out into to small colonies. But yeah, certainly the 75 gallon frag tank is about as full as it can get. Drew, what visual cues do I use to indicate transition is rough? Montepora closing up. Yeah, I think my biggest thing that I'm looking for is to make sure I don't see any RTN or STN. And obviously, if I see corals that don't have the polyp extension, then I would take a step back and take it even slower. I really do monitor the alkalinity. From my KH director, I measure that twice per day, and it's interesting because as I pull corals out of the 187 gallon tank, and this is the alk monitor for that tank, I find that the alkalinity has been going up, right? Because I've been taking out more corals, and I've been actually putting more corals into the Peninsula tank. So my DKH on the Peninsula tank here is 8.0. I usually like to have it like in the 8.5 to 9.0 range. So that's been dropping. So that all makes sense to me. That's something that I want to just take a look at in terms of the pH, the alkalinity, and once a week I also monitor nitrate and phosphate, magnesium and calcium. Who made my tanks? Coast to Coast Custom Aquariums. Patrick, who's out of New Jersey, is awesome. The guy's like an artist. So, you know, I think it's worthwhile spending the extra money for the custom tanks. But yeah, you know, I think I really did manage the situation pretty well, because for those of you that have been following my channel, you know, that 187 gallon tank, and let's go back out to it. You know, that 187 gallon tank was just really wall to wall corals. And, you know, I was getting, you know, you can kind of see the cyano. I think I was certainly losing the circulation in certain parts of the tank, and especially in the bottom parts of the tank. And you know, so I think for me to be able to reboot this and be able to pretty much find homes for the colonies in terms of fragging them up into chunks, selling frags, whatever, and having the extra real estate in terms of the frag tanks to kind of spread all that stuff out definitely helps. So now it's you know, I'm a little nervous about next week, because I think next week is when I'm going to start to pull out the rock in this tank. And obviously when you start to do that, you're going to disturb the sand bed. I don't want to swap out the sand. So that's when I'm going to take it really, really slow and just be cautious about it. I still have a little fragging to do in this tank. You can see there's still some corals in here in terms of the acros and some montes that I could pull frags from. You know, I got some Tyree Blue Matrix, certainly the ORA Red Planet. I think the Oregon Blue Tort is pretty much all done in terms of the colony that was here. Hey John, what's up from England? Brimac 1, do you let the KHD control your... I do not let the KHD do the controlling. I like to do the controlling myself. So it's, you know, I'm kind of nervous about giving up too much control, so I like to kind of make the adjustments myself on the fly. And it's been working out. It's been working out. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that this tank is devoid of acropora now, and the Peninsula tank, really about a year since I first started adding SPS, is looking pretty mature. Hey, what's up there, Rollies Reef Ranch? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Yeah, but I am happy with the way the Peninsula tank is going, and I will do a full update in a couple of weeks on this tank. But the plan is to also keep you folks up to date in terms of the rebooting of this tank. And I will be keeping, except for the zoanthids, I will be keeping all the Goniopora, the Alveopora, this beautiful Duncan coral, this meat coral, I love that. So, yeah. And I don't know, the Goniopora and the Alveopora are growing like weeds for me, so time to start fragging those as well. got a lot of work to do. It's a good problem to have, right? In terms of being having a lot of work to do in terms of trimming the corals back, but it's also a fine balance, because you don't want to like go too fast and too hard in certain corals and piss them off. But yeah, you know, I think definitely looking forward to the live sale on Saturday, this next Saturday, June 4th at 3 p.m. It's going to be my last live sale for the summer. It's going to be up to 40% off on certain frags. And like I mentioned before, they're going to be chunky and they're going to be colorful. So yeah, you know, I think everything kind of slows down a little bit in the summertime, and I'm going to just kind of take the summer to catch up on some much needed projects other than what I've been working on in terms of the reboot. Sorry, what were my deciding factors for the reboot? Well, really what was going on with that tank is that I had 10, maybe 9 or 10 corals that were just dominating, and they were growing so big, and The Calitor was ginormous. The tub Stiletta Montipora was you know, just huge. So they were crowding out other corals that that I really wanted to keep in that tank. You know, and I do run a business, so I want to try to grow out as many corals as possible. And to have just, you know, those few corals grabbing so much real estate was becoming an issue for me. But the other thing to point out is that it just becomes tougher and tougher to prune corals when they're starting to get really big. I mean, when they start shading out other corals, start cutting off circulation, there's only so much you can do before things start to kind of point to a you know, a certain situation where you got to like restart the tank. And so to me, it just kind of became obvious. It was a very, very difficult decision to do it because it was such a beautiful, mature reef tank. But I am psyched to kind of start over again. It's always kind of fun to start over. That tank had been going for about 5-6 years. I can't ever remember now, and it was great. But listen, everything is doing really well. You know, these two frag tanks are plumbed in to that display tank, and the corals in this tank have been doing fantastic. So that's also a good telltale sign that things are going well in the transition. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to, you know, and you know, you kind of like live and learn. You learn about certain corals and their growth patterns, and how aggressive they can be. You know, a couple of those corals, I didn't realize how aggressive they could be. So I've kind of changed my philosophy in terms of those corals and where I would place them in a tank. You know, like the tub Stiletta Montipora and the Calitor that I was talking about. Peter T, is that the yellow tang from the survival? Yes, that is the yellow tang from the story in which, for those folks that don't know about this story, he is doing awesome right now. But yeah, what happened with that yellow tang was an amazing story. You can check out the video, but the long and the short of it is that he was in the 187-gallon tank for a few years, and then all of a sudden the purple tank just turned on him and forced him to live in the rockwork. I thought he was dead. I didn't see him for like weeks and weeks. But then he came, started poking his head out every now and then to try to grab food. He was pale white. He was just thin as like a rail. I mean, it was just so emaciated. And so one day I was feeding the tank and I had my hands in the water and I was feeding some nori. And he came right up to me and I cupped him with my hand. And he didn't struggle at all. And he let me lift him right out of the tank with my hand. It was like a cry for help. It was just an amazing story. These animals are so amazing. So, and I put him in this frag tank, and now he's got a friend with the fox face. He's eating like a pig. He's enjoying life, as you could see. So yeah, that was just a great story, really great story. Yeah, anybody else have any questions? I'd be happy to answer them. At this point in time, I can kind of show you some more shots in terms of the 75-gallon frag tank. Maybe show some colonies that I didn't show before if I can. This is another ACI piece. I'm really, really excited about getting ready to frag this thing. The ACI Light Brite. It's got, you know, these yellow tips and red, pinkish branches and coral lights. So cool. That is a battle corals table. What the heck is it? The spacing on the name. Behind that is a Larry Jackson purple tip acro, totally old school. That's a Walt Disney. Love this coral, the Jackson's Rainbow Tenuous. I'm actually getting more pink and red polyps in the Peninsula tank. I have a big colony in there. I'm not sure if I showed that to you guys or not. Blue boy table. I mean, geez, how often do you see a blue table? And it's hard to see, but it's got these really, really wicked cool orange polyps. Tyree red dragon. This coral is like an underrated coral. The BC Cool No Name is what Adam at Battle Corals calls it. and it's just kind of like got this kaleidoscope of colors, purplish corallites, green polyps, and I get a lot of polyp extension on it. Yeah, all right, so if anybody else has any questions, let me know, but I think at this point I'm going to wrap it up. And yeah, just want to remind you folks, join me next Saturday at 3 p.m. I'm going to be drinking some beer, so have a good time showing off some corals, and can do some more Q&A during the live stream there. But yeah, as I said, I will keep you up to date on the 187-gallon reboot. Final stages of the reboot. Fingers crossed, but I think it's been like a 4 or 5 month process. Slow is the name of the game, and yeah, I'm not in any rush. Skinner JW, what day will I be at RAP? Saturday. Yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. Yeah, anybody that's gonna be at RAP, I'll probably be there like around RAP in New York at around 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll probably be out of there by 2 o'clock. Be driving in the big trip from Vermont, but yeah, always looking forward to seeing some old acquaintances, meeting new people. It's always a lot of fun. What beer are you drinking, Heady Topper? I will be drinking some Heady Topper later on today, that's for sure. You can bet your... well, hold it. Today's Sunday, right? Usually I don't drink on Sunday. I might have to make an exception. I don't know. I'm usually like a Friday or Saturday night drinker. A couple of beers. When is the live sale, and do you have Oregon Blue Torton? Yes. So the live sale is on Saturday, June 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go to reefbum.com for all the details on that. And I think I've got 4 Oregon Blue Tort frags. Some pretty chunky, some really chunky. I've got a couple of beautiful home wrecker frags in that sale. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty much everything that I had in my 187-gallon display tank that I had to frag up is going to be a part of that sale. So I've got multiples of all these frags. Viking Reefing, best of luck with the revamp. Mr. Bum, man, these things are stressful. Yep, for sure. All right, folks. Well, listen, thanks for joining my my impromptu Sunday afternoon live stream. I hope everybody's having an awesome Memorial Day weekend. And yeah, and besides the live show on Saturday, I'm also going to be doing another Rapping with ReefBum this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mark Vanderwall is going to be joining me. He's from Reef Therapy, so really looking forward to that one as well. All right, folks. Thanks again, and have a great day.